Hello and welcome to Lab Assignment X for GIS 311 at the University of Washington, Tacoma. This lab is all about data and file management. The overview and goals. This lab assignment serves as a Windows computer operating system refresher and a guide to correctly setting up and maintaining your data properly for GIS. Data management is a fundamental skill that you must master and demonstrate prior to working with GIS data. GIS applications are data intensive, often including many gigabytes of files. GIS applications require a well-structured and uncluttered file storage system in order to function properly. This lab will guide you through a specific process that must be mastered immediately. This lab and the directions herein will serve as a handy reminder as necessary as you complete the remaining labs this quarter and beyond. All data required to complete this lab is included. Deliverables are listed below and deadlines are listed in our Canvas course. Please do not rush to complete the labs, especially this one. Proceed through the lab with the goal of learning and comprehending the material. If during the lab you encounter terms that you do not understand as they relate to Windows 10, Google them or use the website provided. File Explorer in Windows 10 video is found in the module Helpful Links reference area for all classes in our Canvas course. Important items before we get started: never use spaces or funky characters in any file name or folder name in this course, ever. Doing so will cause Arc to not work. We only use Mozilla Firefox in this course. We definitely do not use Internet Explorer. If for some reason Mozilla Firefox does not seem to work, please try Google Chrome. Data provided for this lab is labxdata.zip, a compressed folder of data found in Canvas in the LabX write-up assignment. There are two deliverables for this lab, two specific items that you'll submit by the course website LabX assignment Dropboxes. One is a zip file that includes the components listed. The file name for the zip should follow the convention user ID _ labx, where user ID is your user ID. For example, mine would be gwlgix _ lab _ x.zip. Your user ID x zipped directory named exactly within that user ID labx zip, where user ID is your user ID. Your typed write-up for this lab, a Word doc in your user ID labx folder, and then within the zip file you will have one data lx folder containing only data or folders of data within it, and X designates the lab number. For this lab, the number, quote unquote, is X. Maps LX that will contain only MXD, PDF, PNG, or JPEG maps. Again, maps only. The X after the L designates lab number X, even though it is a letter. Your write-up, user ID labx _ WU or write-up, should be submitted to the LabX write-up Dropbox on Canvas. To confirm, there is a zip file upload, that's item 1, and then there's a docx upload, and that is item 2, as displayed on the screen. And it should be noted that these are Windows 10 directions. If you're using any other operating system, you will have to develop your own methods. There are three major parts or steps to LabX. Part 1 is Mozilla Firefox and Windows 10 setup. With the directions in front of you, you will proceed through a series of steps to complete these tasks that should be set for the remaining of the quarter. If by any chance these settings revert back to the default, simply change the settings again as you start the next assignment. First, we must set Mozilla Firefox to always ask us where we'd like to save our files. Otherwise, the files will end up in our Downloads folder and will be difficult to find and utilize. This step will help you do so. First, open up Mozilla Firefox. You may or may not have these toolbars showing. Let's turn them off for now. Your Mozilla Firefox may look like this. The first step, as shown in the directions, is to right-click next to the X and turn on the menu bar. The menu bar adds the menus for us. The next step is go to Tools, Options, scroll down to click the circle that says always ask you where to save files. This will now allow Firefox to save the files where we would like to save them. Step 2 in the directions talks about your desktop getting messy, and this quick step will show you how to easily clean up your desktop. No matter what you have on your screen, you can quickly go to the desktop by clicking the Show Desktop Bar button icon in the bottom right of your computer. I cannot show you on the demonstration due to the video being in the middle of my screen, not in the bottom right. However, it is in this location on the bottom right of your screen. This is a screenshot from 2017. Step 3. It is important that you recognize all of the important aspects of the Microsoft operating system's file management software known as Computer, My Computer, My Documents, etc. This step will help you learn what items are important and how to manage them properly. In the bottom left of your computer screen, open File Explorer. Again, goes by many different names, and looks like a folder held in a little bracket. When clicking this icon, a window will pop up, and it will be different than the window that I'm about to show you, but it is similar. In this window, I happen to be clicked on Documents, but I could click on this PC. The first item I talk about is clicking near the View button and showing the Quick Access toolbar below the ribbon, which is a simple click next to the View and show Quick Access toolbar. And you can undo that as well. And note that this may be different if you have Office 365 or other applications on your computer. So just be aware that some of these may or may not work exactly as they're shown. Let's click to minimize the ribbon, which then maximizes the ribbon and gives us more of a view. Thus, there is a choice to minimize or maximize the ribbon with that checkbox, and that's up to you. I like to have it showing often, but if it gets in the way, feel free to minimize the ribbon. In this view, there is the navigation pane, which is on the left. If I move my mouse away from the navigation pane, a bunch of the arrows disappear and then reappear when I bring my mouse back. Notice the arrows are either pointing south or they're pointing east. So east, south. This is expanded and that is contracted. These settings often stick, although if you switch computers, which some of you may do by remoting in to the lab rooms, they may not be there permanently. You may have to reset these settings in the first major step of the LabX. So keep these directions handy for the first time you log, or for each time you log into the computers. It's important to mention that there are many ways to set some of these settings. I will show you one way here in the lab directions or in this video. You're welcome to choose the method that works best for you if you already have a different method. Click in the File tab of the Windows and choose Options. it brings up the folder options window. These are the recommended settings for the general options. We're going to open each folder in the same window, and open each folder in its own window. This gets messy, so we'll keep it on the first, and then we'll double click to open an item and a single click to select. And then the privacy should be checked as shown here. We'll now click on the View tab, and this is an option that is very important to set for using GIS. I highly suggest you display the full path in the title bar, in addition to the two that are already checked. We want to uncheck Hide Extensions for known file types, because we want to see the extensions, such as docx, .shp, .xlsx, etc. And we would also like to see the status bar, which is checked for me right now. And at the very bottom, in the navigation pane, let's try to show libraries. And again, these may or may not be the same on your computer. And if you notice up here in my video, when I click Apply, this checkbox may be checked. It does become checked because I just set my settings. And why am I directing you to change all of your settings to match mine? One, this is the way that I've found to make working with GIS data a little bit easier. It also helps that if your screen matches my screen as we're going through the lab, it'll help you give some sort of reference to match what I'm showing on the directions or perhaps in these videos. I've already clicked Apply in the settings. When I made the change, I have to click Apply, and they get applied, and now I'll click OK. And that concludes part 1 of LabX. Please feel free to save your directions if you need to reset these settings at a later date. For example, when you're logged into different computers via remote access, or if you switch computers in the physical lab. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful.